So Rick, first, thank you for hosting us here at the Xavier offices, beautiful offices, and having the opportunity to participate in the DASA Fundamentals training. One of the things I wanted to ask you about were the DevOps principles, right? Because there seems to be a lot of different DevOps principles out in the market floating around, things like comms and others. But DASA focused on 6 types of principles, and why is that?
Yeah, they're not fundamentally different from the others. Calms is, for example, one that is infamous because of Gene Kim and other gurus in the field. It represents the main themes around culture, automation, sharing, etc. What we really did within DASA is focusing on the organizations, their struggles, and the individuals in those organizations. And from their perspective, the principles we at DASA established speak a bit more about action, behavior, and aspects of their day-to-day work. So this is how we try to phrase them. For example, the customer-centric action is typically an example of focusing on delivering value as fast as possible to your end customers. Something that somehow over the past decades we forgot a little bit, especially from IT. Who are the end customers and the users you would like to have some delight and would like to help? And this is fundamentally important to survive in this digital age, because although startups are teaching us that an app can replace your whole business if you don't watch out, and customer-centric action is therefore imperative to understand and have this short feedback loop.
I like that courage to act and innovate. That piece really struck me when I saw that.
Yes, it's a fail-fast methodology, which is also from the Agile and Lean movement an often heard phrase. It's important to understand that customers, like with an Apple iPhone, for example, they don't mind all too much that certain features in an app are not working all at day one, but they do expect nowadays that if there's some extra features wanted or something breaks down or some bug is introduced, that it doesn't take months but literally minutes or days before it is fixed. And this short feedback loop and this focus on the customers and what they like and dislike, this brings us to a more product thinking kind of way instead of focusing on processes and internal stuff. And getting products, also minimal viable products, as soon as possible to your end users and learn from them, that is takes some courage. It takes courage from Apple to take away the microphone jack. It takes courage also in organizations to bring out products that maybe have not all the fancy features, but is sufficient enough and solid enough to get early feedback and learn from how it is being used in practice. So that's why this first principle is also the first in DASA, because we do it all for customer delight.
Right. And the second principle that I like is create with the end in mind, products and services thinking, engineering mindset, collaborate.
Yes, because what you see is that in many IT organizations, people have been working on parts of the puzzle and don't feel ownership of the whole. And if you realize that you are more of a product company, the software you are working on is considered a product that is used by end users, then you start realizing what is in the end the final state we want to achieve and how to iterate over the qualities. And this product mindset, it also relates to the other DASA principles. That brings a broader scope on what you're doing, and you're not focusing only writing test scripts or writing code, but you're building a product. And this product, which is often part of a whole overall service that companies offer to their customers and clients, is the mindset that helps you to fail fast, to arrive in a culture where you have these short lines and you stay ahead of your competition, basically.
Right. And DevOps Principle 3, I like very much that end-to-end responsibility, live your accountability, concept to grave, performance support.
Yes. This relates to what we just said about product focus. In the past, people were only focusing on a small part and were expert in this. Now you cannot be successful anymore if your product is somehow broken because parts of the puzzle have not been addressed correctly. And in many IT organizations, testers are done when the test scripts have been written, for example, and software developers are done when their code has been committed in GitHub, for example. But in a product company, you're only done when the product is live. So done is live is typically a phrase you hear often in continuous delivery and DevOps circles. But we say done is not live is also not enough. You are only done when it is end of life. And that means that the product, as soon as it has been produced and it's out in the air, people use it, it has customers, it still needs support. And we often say in DevOps world that you don't do DevOps if your developers do not have pagers. And that represents for a kind of culture where you can also be called in the middle of the night when somebody breaks down, or when a user of an iPhone suddenly cannot use his email anymore.
Come on, always on.
And the whole team should feel that responsibility, and if you have an end-to-end responsibility, then you understand that you need not only to put it in production, but maintain it until it is literally brought to the grave or end of life.
Understood. And the other one is that cross-functional autonomous team, DevOps Principle number 4. Do you talk about T-shaped profiles and complementary skills?
Yeah, that directly relates to being able to have this end-to-end responsibility and building products that have all those features as a team. If you cannot be autonomous from other teams and functions in the organization, then you still have all kinds of connection, interdependencies, and you cannot bring value quickly to your customers. Then you lose the fast feedback loop. So you do need, in the modern world, teams that have all those knowledge and skills in them.
Yes.
And teams, we learned from the IT world, function best if they're, it's called the 2 pizza rule. Amazon brought up this term. 5 to 7 people is plus or minus 2 is the sweet spot. So it's not too big, not too small team. But that means that around 7 people should cover all those aspects, that from ID and business analysis to production and maintenance. And that means that that's what we call T-shaped, that specialists can still be experienced and expert in some aspects, but it's not enough anymore to be just a tester. The function of a tester or release manager or project manager will disappear. People in a DevOps team will focus on all those facets. And they can still specialize in parts of them, but they should be sufficiently all around, all of them, to replace each other, to build the product together, to know what they're doing as a team. And that's why all kinds of new skills and knowledge areas need to be obtained by those people.
Yeah, it's a real paradigm shift now, right?
Yes.
Before you're looking just for specialist people, but now you're looking for people that have a specialization, but also have a greater repertoire of skills as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Very exciting.
It's very exciting for many people as well, but also it can be scary.
I can imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. The principle number 5, you talk about continuous improvement. You say, if it hurts, do it more often. Experiment, fail fast. So if it hurts, do it more often?
Yeah, that really represents a culture where people address deficiencies and limitations of the team to be even faster and more autonomous and delivering value faster and in a better way. So what you like to establish, and no manager or consulting firm or training organization can establish this, you would like to have the people in the team who take commitment and ownership, hence the previous principles, on the product they deliver to their end customers, who they know and they know what they need. They need to create a culture where continuous improvement is an integral part of how they work. So people should not hear from an expert or an advisor that they need to release their software twice per day or even faster. They should come up with their own analysis of this is what we do, this is where we spend our time, and these bottlenecks exist. So we want to create more time for thinking of new cool features and bringing out new, delivering value for our customers. Then we need to get rid of all those waste in the processes. And this leads to a kind of culture where people put on their backlog themselves that we need to fully automate the delivery process, or we need to improve the tools and products we use, or we need to change our way of working. And this is very powerful, that people themselves are empowered and also to take responsibility to continue to improve themselves. And for certain things that don't work, they can quickly stand up and try again, like small children, for example. And this is the way people work best. But it's quite disruptive for organizations that have the more Taylorism way of scientific management and organizing in a different way. And not using the skills, the people like that.
Yeah, so that's the challenge that organizations face, is how
to empower those
empower
teams.
people to do those things.
Yeah.
Okay, and principle number 6, it's automate everything you can, enhance quality, maximize flow.
Yes, this is actually probably for people that have known all kinds of other DevOps frameworks and lists of principles, the best known one of those 6. We put it deliberately at number 6 because it's very important, but it's not the main driver. The main driver is about bringing value to customers and creating a culture of high performance. But fortunately, IT innovations help us significantly nowadays to speed up things and eliminate waste. So people who have a continuous improvement mindset, principle number 5, they strive for automation, for example in software delivery processes, but also in provisioning, so the new way of doing infrastructure, for example in the cloud. And automate everything you can is literally a principle focusing on searching for suboptimal parts in your whole process and way of working and tackle them one by one, almost like a sport, to accelerate further as a team and to generate more time and free slots in your agenda to focus on the real essential tasks. And that's why automation significantly helps building high performance teams. And this is a part that should always be present in each DevOps movement, each DevOps project or transformation, but many DevOps transformations stop by only the automation part and the tool-driven part, and many IT vendors and tool parties of course emphasize this part, but we think it should be only one of the parts, an important accelerator, but not the main goal. The tools or technology should never be the main goal in itself.
Right. So it feels like the DevOps principles are almost like a part of the beating heart of DASA, and you match it with the competence model, and you look at the way you provide skills and knowledge via the training. It really helps an organization, identify what they need to do and the way in which they need to do it to be successful.
Yeah, they're intertwined. So the principles directly have led to this competence framework, and the competence framework really briefs those 6 principles, and organizations that start a journey with DevOps and the DevOps in the broader way than just the automation part, like I explained, should focus on meeting those 6 principles or living by those 6 principles. And that's what we believe in.
Well, wonderful. I want to thank you for sitting down and talking to me about the DASA DevOps Principles. It's really exciting stuff, and I know that it's resonating in the marketplace and with folks that are very interested in DASA.
Definitely.
So thank you for your time.
You're welcome.